In the previous video, we talked about animation in ZBRUSH and how we can use different tools and features to animate different ways and create some videos. Now, you can use like transpose and other tools to do different types of animations. So we saw how we can create static renderings also. So classic renderings and also animated renderings. So I'm just gonna show you here real quick this video. I'm gonna use VLC here, player. There you go. So this is, a 360 really simple video that you can do in ZBrush among other types. But in this video in particular, we're gonna concentrate on exporting and moving into different software. I already talked about the different options that you have moving from ZBrush to other areas like 3D printing, for example. So if you need to print your model, well, in this case, you don't need textures, you just need the 3D. So we're also going to see how you can create high poly modeling and low poly models to export. Or you can export for video games, for example. Now, in this case, you probably want less polygons because usually when you do interactive applications, you want them to be real time. So the polygons needs to be low poly, or they need to be with a lower number of polygons. And so we will talk about also 3D model optimization. So how to optimize, how to reduce the number of polygons, trying not to reduce the quality of the model. And to do this, we need texture, we need normal textures. So they usually look like this. And also we can use bump or displacement. So we can create, starting from the sculpting that we did or the painting that we did on our model, we can create these textures. Now, of course, we cannot print this. So this is not for 3D printing. Now, you can also use Unreal Engine, and you can check the video course in Unreal Engine in the channel, because Unreal Engine can handle a high number of polygons. So the models and the levels, the scenes are getting more and more complex. And I think that in the future, you won't need to optimize anymore. You will be free to create any model that you want with any number of polygons. In the past, this was an issue, but right now it's less of an issue. You can also use your 3D models that you export together with your textures to do 3D animation and rendering, as we already talked about. So in that case, you should use software like Blender, where you can like assembly a more complex scene and do animation and do compositing and do a lot of other stuff. Or similar software are 3ds Max, Maya, Cinema 4D, and so on. But in this video, I'm going to show you Blender because Blender is open source, so you can download it right away and use it to test your model and your textures in another 3D software. So we will go through all these different topics, and we will see some examples of how to optimize, how to reduce polygons, how to keep the highest number of polygons, also how we can work with that in these different areas. Now, also you can use for graphic design or illustration. In that case, you can use Photoshop or GIMP, or I'm going to show you Pixlr E because it's a web app, so you can just open it up, create your account, get in, open the image, and edit the image right away without actually downloading and installing anything. So I'm going to open up a rendering that we did before. So I'm just going to open up this one here just to show you how you can work. And this is, again, really similar to Photoshop and other graphic design. So the first thing I'm going to do here is unlock the background, because this is not going to be my background. It's going to be the image that I want to edit. So we can do post-production also here. We can do it in ZBrush, but also in these different software. Remember that if you want to work on a static rendering on a static image, you can use graphic design software. Otherwise, if you need to work on animation and video, you need to go to After Effects or Premiere, or all the other video editing and video effects software out there. Now, I'm not gonna explain to you here too much about Pixlr E. I'm just showing you here that I'm just doing a little bit of post-production with different tools. And if you're interested in Pixlr E, you will find a video course in the channel, also in other software. So just look for the software that you want to find. And you can see we have like similar effects, like posterized, similar effects that we find in ZBRUSH. And we have a whole set of tools here on the left, which can help you to manipulate, to do like photo montages. This is the magic wand here, so I can like select a part of the image and delete it, or I can change like the color only on that part, the background, and so on. So you can do really a lot of things here. Now you can see that if you delete, the delete key is going to show you that checkerboard. That checkerboard represents the transparency, and you can do this. You can like get rid of the background here, but it's faster if you use an alpha channel. Now I showed you that you can render different passes when you do a render in ZBRUSH. So when you save your alpha channel or mask in one image and the composite render in another image, you have two images you can work with. So if you open them both in Pixar.e or any other application, you will have two layers. So you can work with layers in these applications. So I want to go in the mask here in the alpha channel, and if I click in the magic wand there, it's going to rapidly select all of the alpha that I want to use to get rid of the background real quick and do a photo montage real quick. So if I delete like this, it's going to delete the inside. So if I invert the selection, just as we did in ZBRUSH, I'm going to get rid of the background, and then I'm going to deselect. Now this is now in Italian, the interface, but in the English video course about Pixar.e, you will find everything in English. So this is just to show you, it's just a quick overview of what we can do here. And now I can add another layer to have a background. So I can define here whatever background I want. Now remember that if you want to do a photorealistic photo montage, you need to replicate the lighting a little bit of the background onto the character. But that was just a quick photo montage there to show you. Now let's get back in ZBRUSH and let's start to talk about the models and how we can export them. So first of all, try not to get rid of the divisions that you used in the geometry. That's an important tip, because divisions will help you later on to export in low poly or high poly. Now you can see this is a really high poly. So this is like hundreds of millions of polygons. So this is like crazy number for whatever use you need to do. They are too much for, printing, for Unreal Engine and whatever. So we need to decrease the number of polygons somehow. So if you don't delete the subdivisions that you use, it's really easy. Just go back and get the lower resolution model. But if you accidentally delete those subdivisions, that is going to be a little bit harder because you need to optimize. So let's export this piece of armor here, this body armor first. So I'm going to export it, and I want to export it in OBJ. So let's call this body armor, and I will show this to you in Blender. So let's export it. And actually, we will try also different formats. So you also have GoZ, which is an application, a plugin, which is built in ZBRUSH, and it will help you to go in Maya or 3D Studio Max or Cinema 3D. It's gonna help you a lot in the exporting process. You can see right now I don't have any of these applications installed, like Cinema, 3D Studio Max, Maya, so I cannot use GoZ. And well, that's another help for you when you need to export. So in this case, I'm just going to use the standard export. I'm exporting here the tool. So I'm exporting the 3D. But if I have some textures, if I have some mapping, I can also export those. But I'm going to show you that later in the video. Let's go for, and you can see here you have STL. This is for 3D printing. And I think that FBX will work on most of the software, or like every software out there is going to be compatible with FBX. So choose if you want to export just the selected one, or the visible subtools, or all the subtools.